Part 3, planning your earrings. So for those of you that are inclined to sketch out your earrings ahead of time, you can use the following 2 grids to meticulously plan out your earrings so that you know every bead that's going to go on, every color that it needs to be to create your desired effect. I want to just show you the anatomy of these earrings that we're going to be using, that we're going to be making rather. So all of these earrings that I'm going to show you here are all made with the exact technique that I'm going to be showing you. And so with these earrings, they all have 3 components. They have the ladder stitch, which in this case is the blue row of 3 vertical blue beads before the brick stitch begins. So you have the ladder row, the brick stitch, which is all of the beads here that compose the triangle part, and then you have the fringe. So think about your designs in terms of those 3 components. In this case, all 3 parts are one color. In this case, the dominant color is the seafoam, and I used blue and white and red and pink as my accent colors. In this case, you can find my ladder row is here, this one right here. And I used a ton of colors and a ton of shapes and patterns, but once you master these stitches, you will also be able to create earrings that look just like this. There's another one. In this case, this is my ladder row right here. The ladder row sits right above the fringe. The ladder row is right in the middle, in between the brick stitch on top and the fringe on the bottom. So what you're gonna do is you have these 2 beautiful grids. You have one that looks exactly like a normal grid, and you have one that looks like a brick wall. So go ahead and take that page out of your booklet, and you'll want to cut it in half. And cut it in half so that you're following along the line as closely as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to place the brick stitch part where the brick stitch goes on top of the ladder. And so if you can, line it up as best you can so that the brick stitch, each one of these square pieces, the rectangular pieces from the brick stitch, are sitting staggered on the ladder row. It's not going to be precise, but it will give you a good enough sense of what your earrings are going to look like. Take 2 pieces of tape. Okay. And just go ahead and tape it down. And tape it to the back too. So each one of these beads, each one of these squares rather, represents 1 bead. So if my earrings are red and pink, I have a red and pink marker, and so I'll shade in which beads are going to be red, which beads are going to be pink. And I'm going to go ahead and start with my ladder row. So for the purpose of these earrings, we're going to do the same exact 2 stitches that we just did with our bugle beads, except for every 1 bugle bead, we're going to use 3 of our Miyuki Delicas, like this. So for every 1 of our bugle beads, we're using 3 Delicas. That means that our ladder row is going to be composed of 3 Miyuki Delica beads. It's going to be 3 beads tall and however many beads wide that you want. About 19 delicas, I believe, equals 1 inch. So that's a good frame of reference. So let's say that I wanted to create a stripe down the center of my earrings. Okay. Let's just imagine this is pink here. I'm gonna fill out my grid like this. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 beads wide. That's going to be a pretty narrow earring, but just for the sake of learning. And then everything below this block of ladder is going to be the fringe. So if I wanted this pink stripe to continue, I would shade in the beads that I want to be pink. And I like long and dangly earrings, so let's make it pretty long. Now if I want them to be a little bit staggered here, we're going to fill all of this in, and then I'm going to do it the same on the other side. Now this is just helpful so that when you're threading all of your beads, you know exactly how many to thread and you know where each bead needs to go. So for the top of my earring, I think I want to do it all red. So the brick stitch, again, it should be relatively off center. It might not be exactly that, but it'll show us roughly what our earrings are going to look like. And each side, I'm just reducing each row by 1 bead until we get to 3 beads. Once we're at 3 beads at the top, that's when we're going to put our loop in. So we can just draw it in like that. So that's roughly what my earrings are going to look like when I'm all finished.